Hi, and welcome to New England L5R. This is our 9th podcast episode. As always, I'm Erik, and with me, as always, is Luis.
Hi, hello.
And Brandon.
What's going on?
And our special guests this week are Ian.
Hey, how you doing?
And joining us, hopefully shortly, will be Adam.
Yeah.
So
I'll
the
say hi for
literal Scorpion cast, all other non-Scorpion can go
They've
fuck
taken
themselves.
control of Toshi Rambo, and now they've taken control of the NEL5R podcast. It be that way.
Hashtags Scorpcast 2018.
If only.
All right, let's
If only
run right
that
into
would be
it.
Erik.
This weekend was the Gardner Sword Tournament, and it was a fucking banger.
It sure the fuck was, my dude.
I had fun.
Yeah, it was great.
No, it was. It was a good amount of fun. There's a couple new players as well. Like, always just good to see new blood in the scene, given that it's so hard to get people into the game.
Yeah, I met some new folks, played some great games. It was a good time.
Yep. Yeah, the games were all
Gabe-
pretty good. Gabe turned
Gabe
up
coming
again.
in hot again. Ray, probably player of the week. Is this his first
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's his
big-ish
first time
event win?
winning. And this is a big event. This is about as big as they
Yeah.
get outside of like the one massive one that was basically a Kote.
shout outs to Nick, Lauren, and Luis being the unlucky 3-1s?
Yeah, me and Nick tying on our strength of schedule and losing out on fourth by 0.19 was impressive. I don't like strength of schedule, but it be that way.
Yeah, I mean, and at a 20-person tournament, there are going to be unlucky 3-1s.
Yeah,
I mean, the alternative is to just do 5 rounds of Swiss, and then there's 0 lucky 3-1s, which is more fair, but also less hopeful.
But we started at
I'll
2,
take fair
and the
over
tournament
hopeful.
already ended at I left at 11.
yeah, it
So,
was
like,
late.
I
Another
don't
round
think we
would have
could
been
have added
brutal.
another round of Swiss,
No, the whole point would be
especially
you
on a
do
Sunday
like
night.
no, you do 5 rounds of Swiss and then no cut, so
Oh.
you've got like 1 undefeated.
Yeah, but the cut's way more fun.
Yeah, that's my point.
Feels
yeah,
real
the,
bad.
the cut's interesting, but top 20 players with a top 4 cut is kind of weird.
It's
even
just,
though that's what Fantasy Flight OP wants. It just
It's just strange to me how I mean I understand because to take nothing away from any player, you depending on who you beat, your strength schedule changes, right? So I lost in the 4th round, but I didn't make 4th, but Gabe lost in the 2nd round and made 4th.
Well, yeah,
You know what I
in the tiebreakers for the L5R system, it's very much how
Who did you
the
beat?
people you beat
Yeah.
went on in the
Yeah,
tournament.
that's
So,
what I mean. So I mean it is what it is. I just always found it kind of weird. I get why it is what it is now because I understand the system a little more. But I remember when I first saw it, I was just like, not this
So
specific
didn't the
tournament.
guy
in
you
general.
beat in, I think it was round 2, he was mistakenly circling 0 for all his unmodified losses?
Yeah, Brandon.
Right, so he thinks he's
What?
showing himself.
Oh,
He
What?
probably tanked your strength of schedule by just that, percentage.
No,
of a
we
point by doing
did
that.
end up talking. Well, I didn't end up talking
No,
to
we-
Chuck. I kind of
no,
mentioned
we-
it in passing, but it got
we fixed
straightened
it.
out.
You can see on the Lotus Pavilion.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's not
I have never
modified.
seen. I'd never seen the pairing slips from Lotus Pavilion just not pairing slips. I'd never seen just the thing printed out and have people
Mhm.
circle it because they're I don't know why didn't just click the pairing slip button and print those, but I mean it makes sense. I guess it's certainly easier, but it was really I'd never seen that before, so I was just I circled 10. You can't have 10 and 0, so I'm surprised nobody asked, but.
Yeah, no, it is what it is. There was a moment where, dude, I was outside and I was fuming. I was like, damn, did Brandon use his last hurrah to fuck me? I thought you did it on purpose because I totally did scumbag you a little bit, right? So I was like,
No,
damn, I thought
you
Brandon
totally
fucked
didn't
me
do
over.
that.
No,
Not at all.
like
What
I
do you
said,
mean- what
I
do you
felt
mean
a
my
little-
last hurrah.
I felt a little bad after the fact and until we kind of ran through it and there was so many different lines of play that the crunch time was just absurd.
Yeah, it was a ridiculous game. There were so many different things that could have happened, and it was
Yeah.
oh my gosh, it was super super good.
It was
I will
some
say,
wild
though,
style shit.
Having not played since Worlds, you remember the last turn when I came in for the stealthy sneaky stealthy first round Earth Ring. My thought was you were Keeper of Earth. not keeper of water. And then when you came in for the first time in the game as a keeper of water attack, I was like, what just happened? What do you mean you get your
and then
keeper?
you
Oh,
remembered you had to deal
fuck.
with those.
And then,
Crab being
and
keeper
then I was
water is
like, oh,
great.
shit, if I had just come in for that political conflict keeper for water, everything would have been way better.
Yeah,
And then I just lost.
I had to play Ray twice on Keeper of Air, and even though I beat him in the Swiss, I beat him in the Swiss and lost him in the finals, I forgot so many times that the air ring gets him keepers and money.
Yep. The change, because when they're
Yep.
still keeper, you know, it's just like you're so used to a certain meta. You have to really
Well,
keep
because
in
you
mind.
see air across the table and you assume Seeker of Air. That's
Right.
such a good wall, and Phoenix can play it. Why would you choose to play Keeper? And
Because Hurricane
like-
Punch.
'Cause he likes to
that
break
is
a lot of
true.
shit. He likes some keeper initiates.
Yeah, he was punching like a madman.
Oh yeah, he was
Mm.
fishing like a madman, dude. He was pulling
Yeah, and
the shape of
also
water out
playing
like it was
Feral
his
Ninjas
job.
like a fucking madman.
It was sick.
I don't want to talk
dude.
about that.
It was so sick. By the sixth one, you could tell Eric was just like, okay, I guess so.
I was tilted.
Oh yeah, for sure. Every time another Ningyo hit, it was just like funny.
He got 18 free military force in 3 turns. He
It
drew
was
6 Ningyos
It
in
was
3
so
turns.
sick. It was so sick.
What am I supposed to do?
Get fucked, dude.
Every time he'd attack water, I'd be like, oh, okay. I guess I'm going to get Ningyo'd here. And then the second one, I was like, okay, well, I guess there goes 2 at least. And then the next turn, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh,
And then
yeah.
the next turn, I was like, oh, okay.
It just kept happening nonstop. It was impressive. There was also the my round 4 game was actually against Ian, and boy, that was a game if I've ever played one.
I mean, so compared to other code games, we were just talking earlier. There's that I can't even think of the name of it. There's that video code game that's based on Magic the Gathering, but with a more competitive bent. And I can't stand to
Eternal,
play
yeah.
it because the whole land mechanic is too high variance for my taste. And you think about like Legend of the Five Rings of like as far as like code games go being comparatively low variance. But that's not actually true. That's just Scorpion. And sometimes we can really highball, and games like that are where it happens.
It was definitely some shit. So it was like second round, I got hit by a Noble Sack on a 3 Fate Borderlands Defender. Third round, at that point, like I kind of figured that I was in a very losing position, so I kind of had to hedge my bets. I buy a Casada with like 1 or 2 Fate on him, and get swimmed as well. So it was brutal. I wasn't too upset by it, but it kind of struck me, going back to something we've talked about a couple times in regards to Scorpion players and how they're treated and just how they feel in general. I don't know if this is the case, and I obviously cannot speak for Ian, although he's right here. You know, after I got the impression that you almost felt a little bad. You were like, you're like, oh, that's just the red cards, I guess. And I was like, nah, dude, it's all good.
So
Like, I'm not
so
mad at you.
So before Duty came out, I never really felt bad playing Scorpion. I mean, Control's an Earth type. I'm not going to apologize for like playing an Earth type, and ninjas are cool. Then Duty came out, and I kind of felt bad about that. But worse than Duty, because like honestly, like a lot of games you don't even need Duty. That we can with Secret of Air kind of reliably run Noble Sacrifice. That feels bad because, like, when you draw 20 cards, there's a good chance you're going to draw Soul Beyond Reproach, Merc of Shame, Noble Sacrifice. And that's 3 cards in 4 Fate, but it's pretty much an unconditional kill.
Yeah, it's rough.
So that's really good. And that wouldn't even be so bad, except we also run a Fate Worse Than Death. And the way you counter a Fate Worse Than Death is by, like, huge piles of Fate. And the way you counter Noble Sacrifice is by small amounts of Fate. So suddenly our deck has got basically a catch-22 built into it. And that just feels really unfair.
It was definitely painful. I would say it was the worst game I've had. And not that I view the game as bad, but rather, like, I got blown out harder than I've ever been blown out, like, since I started playing. It was kind of crazy. Like, I've never been shit on that hard. It was definitely interesting to see, but I wasn't really upset by it. It happens. Anyways,
So, I mean, I guess this is a good time to talk about, like, Well, let's stick to the plan, and then we can come back to this like Scorpion archetype conversation in later.
Yeah.
So we've talked about the tournament. Now let's talk about the future. What's going on locally, and obviously we're going to PAX, so that's going to be dope. No one's watching this. I'm gay penis, but if you guys want to come hang out with us at PAX, we're going to be doing NEL5R dinners, and we're going to be hanging out. So, like, if anybody's watching and going to PAX, come say hi. And we're going to be all there, and all apparently playing Scorpion.
No. I'm playing Crab, dude. I'm gonna get Crab Hatamoto. I can feel it.
All right.
I'm gonna back up all that shit I talk. I just have to dodge every Scorpion matchup and every Crane matchup.
Well,
Brandon is
like,
not
now,
judging.
yeah, so I'm not judging. That's news. Apparently, I'm going to have to play Scorpion now because I don't want to, like, rob Luis of his Crab Hatamoto.
Ah,
so
yes.
That's obviously my reason.
That's the only reason. Yeah.
That's the only reason.
Yeah,
Like,
that's the only reason you would ever pick Scorpion over Crab. I mean,
yeah.
it's understandable.
Yeah, it's the only one. Yeah, so found out I wasn't judging this week, but it's not like I wasn't like kicked off of the judge staff. There was an administrative error, and the folks over at Cascade, did a great job. They're not like they didn't like screw me over or anything. There was just like an administrative error, and that sort of thing happens all the time in huge crazy events where you're planning for hundreds of people. So I have no.
So you're
like,
saying
bad
we
feelings.
should riot?
No, we should not riot. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, we're still trying to figure out what I'm going to do for a badge. I have some options. I might try and be on standby for Sunday.
You know a guy in.
No, it's fine.
Just
yeah.
let me finish my sentence. There's a guy in the PAX Unplugged chat who said he has a 3 free day pass.
Is there? Interesting.
Oh, I thought you'd already seen that, and that's why you were like shrugging it off.
Jose,
no, have
Jose
not
says
seen
he has
that.
a free 3-day pass because he can't go. So
Really?
You should just talk to him,
That's
I
a
might
big
do
idea.
that.
or you should just like participate in the Discord server that you're part of ever.
I'm in the Discord server. I
sure.
talk all the time on
Right.
different things.
I've seen
don't-
you talk more in the L5R like official Discord or whatever than I have in ours.
I never talk in the L5R.
Dude,
It's
I
cool,
saw
I
you.
get it.
I saw you type there at least twice total, and that's like more than I've
That's
seen you type.
200% more than
any L5R one.
Oh my gosh, this is when did this become
welcome,
Attack Brandon
welcome to the
podcast?
Brandon Hate Cast. Here we talk about how shitty Brandon Lane is. The next section, section 2, is fuck Brandon Lane.
Fucking
Fuck Brandon Lane for sure.
There is tournaments this weekend for people who aren't going to PAX. There's a fucking banger of a tournament up in New Hampshire
Yeah.
at a store that
It's Diversions.
Diversions.
It's in
Yes.
Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
Portsmouth,
I've
New
heard
Hampshire.
really good
There's
things. I'm
hella
super
prize.
jealous.
Yeah, Seth is a cool guy. He's got like cool rings, special
These are-
playmat. He's even got a trophy. Like there's
Yeah.
some crazy stuff.
I mean, let's give the skinny dude. Diversions,
Are you
Portsmouth,
trying
New
to like
Hampshire.
make me reconsider PAX? That sounds
Absolutely
pretty
not.
good.
It
And
does. sound
my
really
like
good.
prospects of winning that one are probably way better.
Watch Ian
Yeah.
just get a Hatamoto
So,
title
it
now.
sounds great.
So yeah, for people who can't go to PAX, that's a pretty sweet alternative.
Yeah, buddy.
I'm actually like Ian was kind of just hinting at. I'm a little like tilted that it's on the same weekend. And then after that, I'm hosting my tournament, which is usually on the first weekend of the month. But considering that I will be at PAX, I moved it to the second, down in Connecticut for us Southern folk.
Fuck.
It will be at the Battle Standard in East Windsor, and mine's not going to be as cool as Seth's. All I can say is that hopefully I'll have the Season 3 kit by the 8th, but I'm like more than 50% certain I'm going to get it, but that's not great numbers.
It is not.
My store has problems with getting things.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's super
little
super
unfortunate.
frustrating. I don't know. That's I think that's a discussion for a different time.
Yeah.
Let's go to news. super light news week. We're just gonna blast right through this. Some more unicorn community card stuff. Luis.
Is there any of that that's new? Am I crazy?
Did we already talk about out of clan allies thing?
We might have. You know, ignore me. I'm just gonna do this. And if we talked about this last week, I mean, who cares, right?
Yeah, there was another article. You know what? We did cover it because we recorded on Thursday.
Yeah, my dude.
Right. I'm so used to just looking at what the news from last week was because we usually record on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay, so there is literally no news.
It's awesome.
We covered it.
I can't wait for them to release news of the restricted list, like at PAX, because we could go.
Yeah. So I guess we're just gonna shoot right into section 3, which is free topic, shoot the shit, talk about whatever we want. So I guess let's just rail on FFG for still having no news about the restricted list. Cool. All right, go.
Well, I mean, in their defense, I think it's really important to note that, you know, having a new banned and restricted list come out within a week or 2 weeks even of an event as major as a Grand Cote would be completely ridiculous and irresponsible.
All they had to do is fucking put Feast or Famine on it right away and then be like, okay, we're figuring the rest out.
Yeah, like how they announced at Worlds.
Oh, right. Oh, I'm
Crane
sorry.
is going to be
second.
running fucking Miyamoto's
'cause-
Fury and Feast or Famine and Magistrate Station, and we're just going to lose.
So they did make a major change within 2 weeks of Worlds. Is my point here.
So like
tongue in cheek.
So think of all the
fuck?
fucking times you're gonna attempt to break Magistrate on turn 1, and they're just gonna be like, okay, Miyamoto's Fury, and you're just gonna immediately go fuck yourself. Like, you just lose. Congratulations.
Or all the times where you can't afford to scout them because if you flip Magistrate, you lose. So you have to like actually commit, and then you hit Feast or Famine and lose.
Mm-hmm.
So back when Peasant's Advice was previewed, I had a lot of nasty things to say about it, because it's pretty hard to get efficiency out of that code. I'm gonna like eat those words right now because I put it in my deck to try it and I have not looked back.
Really?
It is and this is like coming from Scorpion, where like dishonoring your guy is not as much of a cost as it might be for some other clans. But the fact that hitting the wrong province against any fireball can screw you, and there's a lot of one-up holdings that can also screw you. Having a code that just solves both of those problems, even though it like never really solves them both at once, is 100% worth the fate when you need it. My only regret is that it's a dead code often enough that I can't really justify running 2 of them.
Right.
So that was my whole point when we first talked about this card, is that you cannot look at the effects of Peasant's Advice in a vacuum, because all the times where you need that card, you would be willing to pay a billion Fate and Dishonor 4 billion dudes.
Like whenever Phoenix has a Conjo at all ever.
Right. Or when you're like, man, I can't really afford to like blind scout this province, because if I mess up, I'll just lose the game on the spot. Like, there's lots of matchups and there's lots of points in multiple games where the cost of the card is actually undercosted for how important it becomes.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
the only problem for me now is how the hell do I fit it in a 40 card deck, because I'm like,
it's so hard,
solid.
Dude. Yeah, it's so difficult to make space for it. At least in my opinion. I mean, obviously I'm not a dedicated Scorpion player, but I couldn't make space for it in my deck right now. I mean, I mentioned this to you last week. I'm literally running a 2-card Phoenix Splash because I just don't play Scorpion super competitively, and I also don't know what the fuck to cut. Like, it's so hard to make cuts in that deck because everything is so good.
Like, I'm pretty sure I'm locked on my 40, and like, yeah, I'd love to have room for 1x Peasant's Advice, but like, there's no card I want to cut for it. I don't know.
No, I have similar problems. I kind of wish I was locked, and I was up until that tournament the other day.
Right.
But Tadaka really drove home that even though he's not as prevalent as he used to be, he's similar enough to Guest of Honor that I don't think that like 10 conflict characters, 30 events is a winning strategy. Just because there's enough like event hosers out there.
Well, hold on. Are you playing 0 attachments? Like
No,
literally?
I'm playing like 6 attachments.
Okay, so then you're not on 30 events.
Right.
Okay.
But like my point was, I was previously on like 4 attachments, and I think that's not enough.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, I'm sure like the listeners have like heard about attachment hate before.
Yeah, Let Go's kind of like the best card in the game.
Right. And so like the 2 ways around this are 0 attachments, and you turn your opponent's attachment hate into dead draws, or like 10 attachments, and then you just overwhelm it. And Fantanas are so good that if they trade a Fantana for a Let Go, that's a win. And if you play a Fantana and it's not Let Go, that's also a win.
10 attachments, he says, to the crab player, as the crab player carries 3 full-grown men, 17 spy glasses, 2 magical talismans, 5 swords, and 2 fans. Yes, 10.
Right. So like, obviously,
See,
like
all our
Scorpion's not.
attachments suck.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're not a tower faction, so we don't
Well,
we
actually,
don't
your
go
attachment
quite
might be
that
one of the
overboard
best in the
with it.
game. Like, Mark of Shame is definitely one of the best attachments in the game because it is an unreactable,
Mark of Shame is a like
event.
quote unquote attachment.
Yeah.
Really, it's
Yeah,
an event that
It's an
bypasses
uninteractable
hate.
event.
Yeah.
Completely unstoppable.
Uninteractable by not Scorpion, you mean? Because Young Rumomonger, very
yes.
important dynasty purchase that screws both Merc of Shame and Soul Beyond Reproach.
Oh, yeah. It just completely shuts them off. Like, it's just one, right? It makes
So
it just one.
I can totally agree that like Fantanas may be like obviously Fantanas are a good answer to Tadaka and give you game against event hosers, but like you now have to cut 6 cards again.
This is the problem I'm running
Right.
into.
That's like impossible.
Well, for me, it was 4 cards. I was already running a couple Fiery Madness, mostly because
Right.
I'm like enthralled by the romantic dream of Shoju and Eramuro killing things. Although in practice,
I get
doesn't
it. I
really
was on
happen.
there too. I was there too for a couple weeks before I realized that it's just not actually a thing.
Fiery Madness isn't actually that bad though, because
No,
you're
it's not.
basically getting efficiency out of your opponent spending fate, and that feels really good.
Yeah.
So, except when it gets let go, and that feels really bad because honestly, in my deck, like it's the best let go target, except when I steal a better attachment with calling in favors.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I'm glad I found this way to mention again, because I said earlier that if you run 0 attachments, it turns off your opponent's attachment hate. That's not actually true if you're playing Scorpion, because calling in favor turns on attachment hate.
Yeah. My opponent has let go their own talisman more than once.
That's
You gotta
mean,
do it, man.
You're playing into Scorpion. Are you gonna let go anything better than a talisman?
No.
Or their own, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes you just
Pathfinder's
gotta be like, I
blades.
guess that's gone.
They've let go their own reprieves. Yep.
Yep.
I have gone up from my vaunted 8 attachment removal cards. I'm now on 9. And it feels great.
Are you on 3x Let Go?
No, I'm up to 3 mystics.
Yeah.
Because it has the keyword Shugenja.
Yeah, I would be on 3 Mystics all day, every day of the fucking week, dude. No question. I thought that was like the norm.
Nah, I was
That
playing
8 Shugenja shit that you try to feed me, it was not flying for me, dude. Even with 2 clouds, it felt really bad.
It is 8 is 8
You're
all
flying
in
by the
Dynasty
seat of
is
your pants.
riding the razor's edge for sure.
Yeah, you're flying by the seat of
Because
your
they're all
fucking
in
pants.
Dynasty.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. Like, they're gonna print a 1-cost 1/1 Shugenja for Scorpion. They're just gonna like dishonor a guy on entry, right?
Don't
It's
make
Scorpion.
me any harder than
Yes,
I
we
already
should
am.
have like
Well,
the
I mean,
Callow Delegate, who is the opposite of Callow Delegate,
Yeah,
and
and he's
also
from
Shugenja
Conflict and a
Canadian
Shugenja.
game.
Yeah.
I mean, even if they did print a really attractive Shigenja, because they're not gonna make a card that's like dishonor character when enters play, blah blah. That no,
Of
like
course.
the conflict limit so far is already like there aren't spots. I don't
I
know
love
what
Collector,
would
but I
cut for a
cut Collector in an
character.
instant for a good Conflict Shugenja. No questions. Or
you
sneak if you're
you
running
cut a
sneak.
good conflict Corsair for a good conflict Shugenja. I mean, Corsair, I say Corsair, Courtier,
Yeah.
rather.
Yeah, for sure.
But no,
In a
It
heartbeat,
makes
I
kind of
would.
sense to me
So-
because you can inundate your Dynasty deck with Courtiers and you can't inundate it with Shugenjas.
Nobody but me and by proxy you, Brandon, is really on Courtier or on Courtier on Collector.
I
So-
was what the fuck? I like that card.
But you're not a Scorpion player.
Come on, bro.
Wait, okay. Firstly, question 1: by proxy.
You copied my list at Worlds and you're copying my list at PAX.
I'm not copying your list at PAX, and I took advice from your list. I also
Okay.
played a Wandering Ronin at Worlds, but no, I really like. I also played a Wandering Ronin this weekend because I was playing my Worlds deck and I forgot to take it out.
I wasn't trying to be rude. I just
Oh,
assumed
okay.
that like you
No, yeah.
You
so like you've been
took my advice to play Collector.
Yeah, no, I did.
It's,
I really
yeah.
like Collector though. Like I'm a
It's
huge
insane.
fan of having a 2-cost Courtier.
dude, it feels so
Um,
fucking good when they dishonor Claudio Kachiko. It feels so good.
Yeah, it's amazing.
They feel like the biggest dumbass in the known fucking galaxy when that shit goes off, dude. It's
Or you
so
just turn your
brutal.
way the Scorpions into more Let Goes.
Yeah, or exactly. You literally just fucking remove my Spyglass from my Kudaka and then remove the next one next turn. And it's like, okay, I guess so. Thankfully, I'm not running Kudaka anymore, so I never have to experience that again.
Well, you'll experience it on just another guy.
Yeah, I will, but
I-
it won't be on Kudaka, so...
So I can't dispute any of the good things you've said about Collector, but I want to come back to the Scorpion deck being super tight.
Mhm.
And, 40 slots is pretty tight. Like, 10 slots is even tighter.
I play it over
Um,
Sneak.
Okay, so I'm not that on board with Collector.
Dang.
Okay.
Like, Goblin Sneak is really, really good.
He sure is.
He definitely is. And he doesn't throw many
So-
breaks. which
So
is just
okay,
crucial.
what I've been playing in Scorpion is having enough Shugenja main dynasty to be able to support 3 Cloud the Mines, and then running the collectors so that I don't get screwed and can counter spells occasionally.
How many Shugenja are you
right.
fitting in there? Are you running like fucking illustrious plagiarist? Is he a Shugenja?
I'm not.
I don't even know
I'm
what
not.
the fuck
I'm
he
not
is.
on plagiarist.
Yes,
I
Plagiarist
I
is
wasn't.
Shugenja.
I was on. I think I was on 9,
Oh man, you're a
Dynasty.
fucking, you're a ballsy dude.
8 dynasty.
I'm playing
something
9.
Are you running 3x Cloud?
Yeah.
Yeah, I play 2. But
Like I think
I
I'm at
think
10 total for Crab. Or I'm at 9. I forget. I'm at some amount total for Crab, and it feels fucking miserable. And I have 3 of them in my conflict deck, and they're the best Shugenjas
Yeah,
in
but-
the
it feels
game.
fine to me. I've never
Well-
really had problems.
It feels much worse in Crab because like you have
I
good
also-
characters.
I also have to
don't-
like bid, like low,
Oh yeah,
to kill people.
yeah. You like have.
like to
you have
interact
to
with
do
that
stuff
one win
with-
condition. I have to actually like put myself at some sort of disadvantage.
Well, that's weird.
I know. I don't just gain advantage for winning the game. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, you also have to for like play cards in the dynasty phase,
Yeah,
like
it's really weird.
to do things more than like play your conflict.
Alright, yeah, I get it. I'm not a red player yet.
When I was testing with Phoenix Tom over the on Saturday before the tournament, I built Crane Seeker of Fire to like help him with the matchup because he asked me to like play it against him, and I was like, man, I have to like buy stuff in the dynasty phase and like actually aggressively play cards to break provinces, and like, is this like how all the clans play? And he was like, yeah, and I was like, this sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, other clans
haven't
have to
played
actually
not
play Legend of the
Scorpion.
Five Rings. It's like weird.
I haven't played not Scorpion in a long time.
I don't blame you. I don't see a reason to play Mount Scorpion.
I played that one tournament as a unicorn up at Black Moon like a few months ago. That's it.
Yeah, because you were terrified. You're absolutely terrified of
I was
Mark.
not terrified.
You were
Oh
quaking
my
in your
God.
fucking boots, dude.
Shut the fuck up.
Saw
I
Big
didn't
Papa
wanna
Mark
play-
Armitage was there, and he was not risking it.
I didn't want to play the Mirror and Crane matchups all day. And to be fair, of the 4 rounds, I played
Like-
Crane 3 times and
Yeah.
the Scorpion once.
What a game. Yeah, Crane is excessively popular in New England. It's kind of weird. It's not weird, but I mean, it's interesting to see that they're like really
Hotaru's fucking
popular.
waifu.
All right, I don't know about all that.
Alright, well, sorry.
It is. kind of weird how few dragon players we have around here.
Yeah, we've got we had one regular up until very recently, and then we recently saw 4 dragon players just come out of the fucking mountains.
Yeah, the new player Erik has been playing a lot, slamming games.
Yeah.
Every night I see him in the Discord asking for games, so
Yeah,
he's gonna get good real quick.
Yeah,
so
he seems to have the
another.
right mentality for the game.
And there was another dragon player who I had never seen before, who was a pretty good player at game nights.
Yeah, I saw him. I think I
played
don't
him
know
round
how he
one.
ended up, but he ended up winning his next 2 rounds, I think.
I think he finished 2-2 or something. I don't know, but yeah, I played him round 1, and he was not bad.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. These dragon players just came out of nowhere, and now we're starting to have a couple. Whereas when Dragon was just ungodly busted, as opposed to just way too good.
It was just Kyle.
It was just Kyle, and he was just yeah, I'm the only dragon player, I guess, and nobody fucking played dragon. I think it speaks a lot to people who are just the clan loyalty in New England has always been pretty strong. So people are just always sticking to their shit. I mean, my clan loyalty is strong. It's just not as strong as my will to be sane. I wasn't gonna play Crab during the fucking dark times. Let me just play Crab into Hawk Tattoo and lose the game immediately if they ever draw one of their 3.
Something I wanted to say, the local tournaments, we've already been talking up local New England tournaments, but every single time they get harder.
Yeah, they're good. They're really fucking good. I don't think anybody could tell me otherwise that there's a better scene in the country. I would be shocked.
I did not have an easy round on Sunday.
It's a whole new world for you, Erik. Finally, life is rough for Scorpion.
I mean, I still went undefeated in Swiss, but
yeah,
I didn't have an easy round.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people are leveling up collectively.
Drew was on my stronghold playing low bid Lion Unicorn Splash. It's pretty spicy.
Damn, dude.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What else? We had an aggressive crab build.
Really?
I unfortunately don't know his name.
Jason, most likely.
Yeah, he did pretty well. Playing.
Oh, hey,
playing
look who's coming
Valkyrie.
from the shadows.
Hello,
emerging,
Adam.
Our 4th Scorpion player emerging into the cast. This is Adam, who I said would be joining us.
What's up, guys?
How's it going?
Up?
Hey.
Pretty good.
Welcome to Scorpcast 2018.
No.
Yeah, I know, right?
You've missed the first 2 sections. Well, I mean, you've missed one section because the second section is news, and there's been no news. So we're
just talking shit, dude.
Yeah, we're just hanging out.
Cool.
What do you want to talk about?
Let's talk about Scorpion hate.
Sure. What do we hate?
What do you mean?
All of the hate that Scorpion gets now these days.
Oh, I mean, yeah, it's sometimes super uncomfortable to play red cards, but we volunteered to be the villain, so.
I think if the hate was properly attributed to the actual devs and not people just looking for a reason to complain and be rude to their opponent, it'd be okay. I have a lot of problems with the design of the Scorpion clan in the current iteration of the game, but I have never once and will never fault my opponent for doing that,
I'm taking a break from Scorpion after PAX, especially now that I got my spicy wooden roll token, and I'm excited to be able to join the circle of people complaining about red cards and cheering on my opponents every round. I can't wait to be the person who gets rooted for instead of against.
I mean, it's kind of like I said, and what Erik had also said in the other Erik, the newer dragon playing Erik. It's a lot harder to root for Scorpion because their cards are just categorically mean, and on top of that, and this is my words at least, but it's hard to root for an Elder God tier clan,
One of my closest friends and the person who drove with me Sunday rooted for my opponent not once but twice. And
Hey, Ray's a
everyone
phoenix, dude.
Everyone collectively cheered when Ray beat me in the finals. You know what
Yes.
happens when I win in the finals? Everyone goes, okay, and walks away.
So I want
Yeah.
to, like we said earlier,
Dude,
this
Ray was
was
the
Ray's
underdog.
first big tournament win. So you know, it's like I said earlier, it's easier to cheer for the underdog, and you know, I don't mean any malice against you, obviously. Although, like, seeing as I was like not the Scorpion in the finals, I am filled with envy and resentment. But putting that aside,
My goal was to get
I honestly think that, like, if the situation had been reversed, and like previously, like, Ray was one of like 3 or 4 regulars that you kind of assume is going to win a tournament going into it, and you went and you beat him, I think that probably would have gotten a similar level of cheer.
Oh, for sure.
So it's not, you know, this came out like way meaner, like, because I didn't mean to say it's not your clan, it's you. But my point is, like, it's not your clan, it's Ray. That's the main point I'm making.
I'll take it as a compliment.
Sure.
Because I think it was, right?
Yeah, that's really how it was meant.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. It's not like, oh, fuck Erik. It's just like, it's fucking
I'm
nice
never
to see
saying
the
it
underdog.
is.
That was some Mighty Duck shit, dude. It was
I'm
tight.
never saying it is. It's just like super feels bad to be on the other side of it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it be that way, dude.
When you play Scorpion for months and months and months, when you win, it's like, yeah, Scorpion's really good. And when you lose, everyone's like,
fuck yeah.
how'd you lose? Yeah, hell yeah.
Well,
that's awesome.
so something I'm curious about, because like we obviously have a panel of Scorpion players and wannabe / have been for mere moments Scorpion players in here.
Oh, he's coming in swinging.
Okay,
I mean,
all right. Okay.
Well, no, it's true though. Like there's that's actually not like at any particular.
No, I
person,
literally
but, like,
was Scorpion for like 5 minutes.
Right. Right.
Oh, okay.
So like
So
there's some.
we're not just jumping on the Screw Brandon bandwagon. That is this the week.
No. I think like there's I actually think that Scorpion gets played often because it's one of those clans that you need to play to experience why it does what it does. Like,
Right.
it plays a different game. And I did this with Dragon recently. Like, it's one of those things you have to play to experience it. And like, even 1 or 2 games after playing a Dragon deck, that whether it was good or not, it doesn't matter. Like, you play with I'm using air quotes here, Dragon cards. Like, you're like, oh, well, for this card to be functional, I have to have done this before. And the same thing is true for Scorpion. And like, I think Scorpion, while it gets a bad rep, and rightly so, our cards are very specific in like what they do. So like, yes, as a Scorpion player, after like months, as Erik just was saying, like or whoever was saying, like after some time of playing, you're like, okay, I play this card now. Okay, they know I'm going to play this card now. And then whether it gets boring or not, like, it becomes almost a very readable play. Are they still good cards? Yes. But like, I do think that something that I hope FFG does, and I think they're really working towards, is making that not the norm. Like, I think they're working towards us having, as L5R players, decks that are more interesting from the perspective of different mechanics, different decks, different styles. Are they there yet? No. So I think right now we have to deal with the fact that we got new roles. We're all living in the meta that is pre the new pack that's going to come out, or whatever it's called. You guys probably know better than I do. Yeah, the Super Pack. So like right now, I think there's a mix of people playing Scorpion that never didn't play Scorpion before. I think there's a mix of people that were playing Scorpion that are playing other stuff now. I think there's some I've seen in other chats that I'm on, not even on Discord, that are playing some really fun Earth Scorpion decks. I think that the meta is actually interesting, while at the same time, we do see at most events the standard decks, which is what is kind of I'll say it is a problem, right? Like, while
Absolutely.
there are other decks that are good, there are decks that are just equivocally the thing that you play, and it is becoming, I don't want to say boring because that's definitely not what I'm trying to go for here. Is it mundane, right? Like you're getting this mundane effect of gameplay, and it's not bad. It's just the way of competitive gaming. I don't want to put this in like a FFG thing. I don't want to make this like an LCG thing. I don't make this like any
This is
card.
a symptom of all competitive
It's just a
games.
symptom of competitive games, and it's okay, right? And it's on us as the players to try and like branch out and make it exciting. It's also on FFG to give us the opportunity to make those things interesting. So I think that's where we're at with this gameplay. Like, yes, we can all joke and make the memes and all that kind of stuff about deck A, deck B, but like we're in a good place. Like I don't think we're in a bad place. I think we're just in the place that is a competitive game. And would you have said that a year ago? We're like, oh well, every deck is the Scorpion deck. Every deck is the at the time, actually a year ago, was the Lion deck. Honestly, if you think back before the Phoenix pack, it was like right now, go 12 months ago, it was a Lion deck, which is silly to say, but it was.
Yeah, right before
Well, the
Imperial.
truth is they got hit harder by the restricted list than a lot of clans.
Mm-hmm.
They got fucking decimated by that shit. Like, they just got wiped off the face of the planet, dude. Orbital nuke to the Lion, like, just casually as fuck.
Anybody,
Right, and
anybody who doesn't think that like most competitive card games, especially a small card pool competitive card game, isn't like this, is probably just not an experienced competitive card game player. I mean, if you look at other games and then try and draw things from them and apply them to L5R, yeah, it's gonna seem like really bad when you look at a modern Magic tournament and you're like, there's 78 archetypes that they can play. We
Right.
get literally 7. Like, yeah, but
But they've
also
got
have
like a
20
billion
years.
fucking cards.
Yeah. The banned and restricted card pool in Modern is there's probably more cards on it than there are in L5R. So
yeah, I
think-
guess what I'm trying to get at here is, sorry, real quick, is to say like, if you go back 12 or 16 months or 18 months, like you're like, oh, I want this game to be a game. I think we have that game. Is it perfect? No, but that's what we signed up for this. This is an LCG. This isn't a CCG. Like we signed up for this. Like this is not going to be a year in and we're good to go. It's just like we got to like at least 2 more years until we're ready to like really be complaining.
I mean, we're looking at like AGOT, you know, where AGOT apparently started off pretty rough and got really good.
I mean, you can draw comparisons to any of the older LCGs because Netrunner also had a ton of archetypes before its inevitable gunshot to the head.
Yeah, the old of mice and men. I think it's important to note, and I don't mean this in what would probably be considered the typical, right? The typical, like, let's all hate Scorpion and circle jerk about that. But I think it's also important to, like, not be too complacent in that, like, yeah, we are playing a card game, and yes, like, there are defined metas, but I think... this is going to sound like an inflammatory, argumentative statement, but I mean this as like a very broad, general thing to say. I feel like if you can look at the numbers and think that just by the numbers, Scorpion is not like inherently just super toxic for the game and the competitive viability of the game right now, I think you're crazy. I think that it is a natural growing pain, and I think all card games develop a meta. All card games, all competitive games have a top tier. But I think Scorpion's continued utter dominance, even post-restricted list, you know, whatever you may want to look at, is clearly shaping up to be a problem, and I think that's something that people should keep in mind when we're looking at that too.
If we could rewind time and go back to the point where Dragon was on Seeker of Fire and winning multiple large events in a row, I mean, I probably could have talked to Luis then, and he might have said close to the same statement then. What about Dragon?
I would not agree, because Dragon historically had only recently, all things considered, started performing, and only due to a NEL.
Right. But I'm just saying, like, we can look at snapshots going back through the game's history, and yes, Scorpion is always there, but there are also other clans.
There's not. That's kind of the problem with the numbers, is like, we can look at Dragon and be like, yeah, NEL won a couple Kotes because he's really good, and like Dragon performed. And then we could look at the numbers and say, and I know this is my favorite number, but we could look at the numbers and say Scorpion have been 35% of all top 8 placements ever in every Kotai ever. 35%. Over 35% is Scorpion.
Yeah, it's something that I'm a little ignorant on right now, because I think that so shout out to the guys over in the UK and whatnot, like Imperial Advisors guys. They definitely do a good job of kind of consolidating a lot of that data. I actually haven't looked at it recently, and I'm remiss to really be looking at that and kind of give good data on it. But I think that you're right, at least perception wise. But I also do think that we have seen, like, I think something that has to be said is that we have to actually discount the winner of an event. And I know that sounds weird, because the winners of these events that are actually, breaking a lot of these molds are the non-scorpions to some degree. Like we saw at Worlds, we had a crane Shogun, right? So there's something to be said about the who wins versus the who is constantly being in the percentage wise at the top. So right now, Gen Con was okay. That was August, so we're almost in December now. So we're about 4 months out. What do we have for data between Gen Con and Worlds?
In Worlds, there were no major.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
And that was when the meta
I think you're right.
solidified too, because Gen Con wasn't even fully legal, so that is a fair point.
Right.
Yeah.
Or the meta would have solidified.
And like you look at Gen Con, and honestly, I'm trying to remember. I don't think.
I think there was like 2
Scorpion
top
was-
8 lions. Yeah, I think I think Crane just kept Scorpion out. I think there might have been one in top 8.
The final was Phoenix and Dragon.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah, I don't think
Right.
Scorpion made top 8. If it was one Scorpion.
I think
just
so.
outside.
As a collective community, I think that we need to be looking at more of like who or not who, because actually it's not the right term. Which clan is consistently getting a majority in the top of the second day, or not even second day, because now that's going to the whole thing's going to change, right? But who is consistently placing in the upper echelon of whatever the event is? Because now that we have Grand Kotais, the
Right.
elemental challenges, and all this stuff, like they're all a little different at how they place you. But I think that's the more interesting stat. So
Okay.
people better than me, like the Imperial Advisors.
I pulled up the Imperial Advisor Gen Con thing.
Okay.
The day one was the top 8 was 3 crane, 1 dragon, 1 lion, 2 phoenix, 1 scorpion, and the other day was that doesn't look right. Oh, these it's not top 8. It's the people who qualified. So there were 11 qualifiers on the other day, which was 3 crab, 3 crane, 2 dragon, 1 lion, and 2 scorpion.
That was Gen Con?
Yes.
Okay.
So do you guys just want like the top 8?
I mean,
Which
that's
after the bracket.
I think top 8.
I mean, I guess in the sense of that, I think at Gen Con top 8 was probably the best indicator of. Well, actually, day 2
we were
is
missing
day
some
2 is
crucial
actually the
stuff
best.
there too, though.
Yeah, day 2 is. I think you have to go with like pools, right? Like whatever the event is, I think you really want to look at, and I could be wrong. I mean, I'm welcome to be told I'm wrong there, but like you want to look at the pool of everybody who gets in to the next level, like who goes to the next level.
Right.
And like, yeah, you could argue that it's the top 8, but I really think that from a clan perspective and a balance perspective, you want to look at what is the next tier, right? Like did you do the minimum to get to the next level?
It's
'Cause then
kind of
that's a
like seeing if
clan
something is
perspective.
both popular and strong, because if something is extremely popular and extremely strong, it's usually like it bodes very badly for a game, balance wise.
Yeah,
Something
that's a
that
good
is
point.
very popular should be approaching a 50% win rate, ideally, or slightly less, because more people playing it means that lesser players are also playing it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
if something is extremely popular and extremely powerful, it becomes a quick issue, and it becomes a little more obvious too. Let's check.
Yeah,
these
like
out.
I guess I'm all for like the funness that is like crapping on certain clans because they're so good or so bad, but like I do think that there's some level of people need to kind of like let's take a realistic look at this, and like I do think the game is in a good place. Is Scorpion amazing? Yeah, we have really good cards. I'm not going to discount that. Is Unicorn a challenge? I actually think it is right now. And like, am I the best player? No. So whatever, take that for what it is. But I still think that we have. Someone else has said this before. Like, I do think we have within the past 12 months, we have a more balanced playing field
Yes.
Yes, there are better cards in certain pools and there are better cards in certain situations, but I just think that there needs to be somebody else that needs to explore some of these other archetypes within a clan to show that it's possible. And I think that's happening, just not at the competitive at the what's the right term? At the high profile competitive level. I still think there are local events that like people are like, oh, this is a great deck, that happens. But I don't think it's something that's happening at the publicized, marketed level of events. And I hope to see it. Maybe PAX Unplugged will change it, I think.
I mean, go ahead.
Sorry. So, like we're there's always going to be people who like sneak do well, because they are solid players and they have like weird stuff going on. Like Pablo is a great example from Worlds, right? Like he came in playing a crab deck that didn't run Iron Mines or reprieves and all kinds of other crazy stuff.
Raise the alarm.
3 raise the alarms, right? And he went top crab. He did really well. I don't think though that we're gonna see like a lot of breakout stuff, like meta changing things. Most of the time, I mean, maybe we will, and I could be wrong, but most of the time when you see like the weird breakout stuff, it like get through to like a top tournament, it's either because that's something that people were playing and people dismissed it, or maybe it'll come out and be something that ends up like having a billion people decide that that's what's going to go on. Like, so we saw Chris Podorf in early PAX South turn what is effectively kind of the way Scorpion plays now into a thing, right? And that was something that I think we're probably going to see some more of as the game develops. We'll see like breakout new ideas about playing, but I think as the game goes on, the trend is probably going to be away from like what you want, Adam. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't know how much, like, I'm approaching all of these problems from someone who has played competitive card games all my life. Like, this is what I do. This is my passion. It's like competitive card games. And I know that some other people are coming in from different backgrounds, and I'm like worried that they're going to be disappointed, because that's what you guys want isn't usually the norm.
How do you mean?
Like people, the people like finding like weird, quirky things and turning them into great stuff
doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen as much as like things being like, oh, this is the best thing, and we're gonna put together a team of people to make this thing and play that thing. Like, yes, there are always people on the sides. There are always people who are going to be famous for like brewing. There's lots of personalities and lots of games that have earned their name off of like making fun brews, but there's a lot more people who are just going to, either get together with a team or go online and say, oh, I'm going to a tournament, this is the thing I should be playing.
Well, I mean, that kind of comes down to like those people are all like, they were finding the decks that they think that are the best deck to begin with, and then they're perfecting it.
Mm-hmm.
When you're finding a brew, you're trying to basically outsmart the field and find something that a large number of people have looked at but not seen.
Right.
And when you think about it, like you would expect that if a deck was there, like, and you throw a lot of people playing it just in the random noise before meta forms, like you'd think it would be found.
Well,
yeah,
and those things are way harder to do than to grab something that's proven to be well and just worry about piloting it well. They're two extremely different skills, and one's way harder.
Yeah, you make a good point there. I mean, like, I think there's a lot to be said about that. I do think that we're getting into the fact that decks exist now, right? The game has been around,
right.
Like, so to shift it is kind of tough. And the other issue is that you have personalities, let's just say, people who play certain decks in certain clans that's just the way they play, and it becomes meta defining, and that's okay. Like, I totally am okay with that. Like, that's the way it has been in other competitive games I've played as well, non-card games. So like I get that. I just think it's exciting for
Absolutely.
for a game to allow for other things to exist, like was already said before, is like I do think that there is an opportunity for interesting decks to exist that are even a minor shift off of the current meta norm, to make a place in, like, actually, and it's sad to say this again because we're all Scorpion in here, or majority of us are, is like you actually saw in the top 8 2 different role Scorpions.
Yep.
Right, and we saw a lion supportive Scorpion, right? So like we're seeing, okay, again, this goes back to no bullshit. Like, yes, Scorpion cards are good, but like the point is that there are that the Scorpion cards do facilitate kind of 3 different playstyles. On top of that, it was like Crane was playing Scorpion for quite a bit in general. I don't think it made the top 4, but that was the meta up until we saw Erik play his deck.
Speaking of your point about clan loyalty, I think it's like really important because it's something that isn't in any other clan, which is why I'm so outspoken and so upset about their changes to hatamotos.
You mean game
coming up? What did I say?
You said
Other
any other
clans.
clan. I just wanted to be clear because I
And
don't
I
want
mean, we
anybody.
are the
any
most
other-
loyal, but other
Yeah.
clans do
Yeah.
no loyalty.
Right.
Yeah, it's all good.
So yeah, as opposed to any other game, like if this were a game where they didn't give a shit about clan loyalty, there would literally be like 3 decks in the game.
Yep.
So because
Yeah,
like the balance is
that's
in
true.
such an unfortunate
There-
spot right now.
There would literally be Dragon as a check to Scorpion, Scorpion being Scorpion because it beats everything else, and Crane acting as like the middle ground between either.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
People like Luis who love Crab, people like Lauren who love Unicorn, people like Ray who love Phoenix, people
Like you who love
Derek,
Scorpion, dude.
people like Derek who unfortunately loves Lion, and like Drew who unfortunately loves Lion. Like those are the people keeping this game like as interesting as it is right now, and like I totally applaud them and I love them for not switching to something that's better.
Yeah, but I
So
mean, even then though, like it's not like it's always been that way. Like before we got into the point where it was basically just like 2 or 3 clans, we've had points in the game so far where it were 5 or 6. Basically, we had a point where it was basically everything but Unicorn.
To finish
and,
my
you know,
point, sorry, just to finish my point, I just want to say is that if this were any other game, like it would be abysmal right now. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Go ahead, Brandon.
I think Brandon wanted to say something.
Yeah, I was just. I mean, I think we'll see how Children of the Emperor does. But like, we also have like 4 clan packs coming out next year. So like, or
Yeah.
5 clan packs coming out next year. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for where we're going with this. I think we're gonna see things develop into a point where there are going to be 7 competitive decks at least, if not more. And then we'll get to the point where it's not like poor this player and poor this player because although they like Lion, it's like
I just wanted to point out that it's really
love
cool
your
and really unique.
optimism.
it is very cool that we're still hanging on even though the early growing pains. And I think that's one of the things
I think that's something. I was just gonna say, I think that's something that everybody here actually is pretty big on. Like and I'll say this as a new L5R player, like I'm Scorpion Clan loyal since day one. Like that was what I hopped onto, and so like I love anything that is like the clan loyalty stuff. I mean, I'm gonna be playing the RPG, and I was like, I don't care if this is a terrible RPG character, I'm gonna try it out. Like I like the idea of the Scorpion Clan. And I think that's the fun part about this game. That's why I signed up for an LCG. Like this is literally like I don't care if the deck is good. Like it could be the worst deck ever, and I would still probably play Scorpion. Obviously, that's not going to happen. I would love to see a way for FFG, and like this is not going to happen because it hasn't been announced. There's no way it's going to happen anytime soon. But it'd be really cool if they actually, because they do track. Like I know that when I've gone to the Kotais and Grand Kotais, like they know that it is me registered to play. My name is on there. Like it'd be cool if they saw clan loyalty and actually reward it in some way. Like that would be
Instead of actively punish it like what they're about to do.
yeah, like actually exactly, like actually actively feed into, hey, Joe Schmo over there has played Unicorn since day one. Like guess what, I want to give him like the coolest, like I don't know, the coolest
Yurt.
roll token or something,
Oh.
like whatever.
An
Yeah.
actual
Like-
yurt.
Like do it, because honestly
bunch
right
of
now,
ox.
are you getting rewarded as playing a unicorn player going to worlds and
No.
not getting first pick? You're not. So why not get rewarded on cool stuff that you can't get otherwise? You didn't get your roll, but hey, guess what? You got the really cool stuff that
Let-
you can't get otherwise.
Let's also just like bring it back real quick to FFG, making it so that the rich get richer at Worlds, which is how no fucking competitive anything in the entire fucking universe does things except for
Sport
FFG.
or game.
The rich
Yeah.
get richer and the poor get to stay in the
baseball.
fucking dirt.
Let's not talk about baseball or football.
What are you talking about?
Okay.
Well, don't they
We
get
won't
first
go off
draft
on this
picks if they do
tangent.
shit?
In football, if you are in last place, you get first pick.
Yeah, you get first
Yeah,
draft.
isn't that stuff all tradable?
Yes, of course it's tradable.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
But you get it is
But-
the important
but we're
thing.
not talking about the trading. We're just talking about the system itself.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Fine. Yes. I don't want to go down this rat hole. So
If
yes,
Crane,
you're right.
If Crane wins Worlds, they should not get first pick of rolls.
I don't agree with that, but I also don't agree that they should get like the best of everything. Like there should be a yin to the yang, right? Literally,
Yeah, there
this
should
is-
be
this is
definitely a happy
L5R.
middle ground somewhere.
So,
Yeah.
like I think getting to pick your role off of winning is really cool, and it lends a sense of weight to worlds that otherwise
Yeah.
wouldn't be there. However, I agree that it does like lead to the effects that Luis describes, and I think this would be like way less of an issue if there weren't some roles that were obviously good for anyone who picked them up, and some roles that are obviously like
Let's call them trash.
technically better than no role, but only technically. You know,
So are you kind of talking about how like fire rolls are just like really good, even though they said they would ban Feast or Famine?
Well,
and then...
like Seeker of Air and Seeker of Void come to mind as just blatantly too good for every clan at a baseline, and then the only
the
ones that
fact-
are better are clan specific.
so I've been thinking about this. I honestly think that Seeker roles would still be playable if they took away Seeker Fate. Just because having a good province role is
Oh yeah,
that powerful.
I actually
yeah,
probably
I would
agree with
still
you.
play Seeker Air.
Yeah, for sure. Having a good
So-
province row is the most important thing in this game, in my opinion, and that's like really, that's something I've harped on for a long time. I think it's an underrated aspect of the game. If you have a good province row, you're immediately a baseline level of strong.
And at the same time, like the way the game is designed, where I mean, I don't think the intention is that some elements of provinces are just better than others, but that's the way it is. So that kind of comes back around, like Seeker of Earth and Seeker of Water. Like fundamentally, don't do the thing you need out of a Seeker role.
Ian, what are you talking about? Crab picked Seeker of Earth. It has to be good.
Yeah, well, I never question the like wisdom of foreign clans in foreign lands. They're obviously playing in a very different environment.
Yeah, they're sleeping
But-
well in their pillow books.
You have to have entrenched position and ancestral lands, so you can put whichever one under the box. you need.
Actually, you need to be
Uh-huh.
running Guardians of the Sea Kitsu, you fucking dummy.
Ooh, spice.
Oh yeah, dude. That's
Yeah.
that's how you shore up the
Isn't it
lion
great to
matchup, dude.
unpredictably
5 strength
dial your own
upholding authority.
guys?
Mm-hmm. 5 strength
Ugh.
upholding, very good. You can steer them
I
right
mean, you-
into that with Talisman, baby.
I mean, you could just play 5 different, you know,
Oh, you can't play
five
Talisman. Never
different
mind, we're
element
Seeker.
provinces. Like, you don't have to play 2 Earth provinces.
But you're
to play
Seeker.
Seeker.
So
Yeah,
if
but
you're,
like,
but you have 2 roles. What? Like Keeper of Earth would have to be incredibly bad to
It
play
is.
Seeker of Earth just for the one fate.
Yeah, like Keeper of Earth is it might actually be worse than Keeper of Water. Like it's hard to say, but like they're both really fucking bad.
Yeah.
Or are we
Pretty
talking
good
about
ring.
Justin Crab or?
Well, no, like in general, like because Keeper of Earth makes one of the best provinces in the game that is like now part of the quote unquote default row actively unplayable. You cannot play Upholding in an Earth role, and that is crucial because Upholding is the default row for almost every clan right now.
Yeah,
it is just
Yeah.
the pick.
That's something that actually I don't think anybody else has said, but it is literally in every row, and it should be. And it is. You're right. Any keeper role, or
Yep.
keeper of Earth role.
Any
is
roll,
just-
any Earth roll.
Yeah.
any Earth World, is just kind of like
They're boned.
defaulting like, yeah, I'm gonna use this, and oh wait, if I play this, I'm gonna get it
Like,
farmed.
and I think the idea when they made those provinces have higher strength, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, because the negative part of me says that they're just doing that because like they thought it was on theme and it might be good. But the positive part of me thinks they realized that these provinces might make seeker rolls too strong, so they intended to make them worse with the roll.
Yeah.
Um,
So here's a harebrained idea.
Mhm.
What if they, in the next 12 months, it actually be more than that, in the next 12 to 14 months, because let's just put them to 2020, is to literally Koibash every province in the game and come
Yes.
with a whole new province roll.
100, I
That'd
would
be great.
be so about
Would
it.
that be a new game for us
Yes.
all
Yeah.
enough?
It
to
would
make-
be amazing. I think
So-
provinces
I
are
think it
some
would-
of the
they
biggest
wouldn't
issues.
have
in
to
the game.
bash every province.
Yeah,
Like
you
if
could
they
do it
leave
right
mandatory
now.
burdens in the game,
Yeah.
I think that's fine.
You could do it right now.
Yeah, you for sure.
You could do it
Yeah.
right now, but they can't. No,
They would have
you're
to roll
right.
it out.
You could do it right now,
Or,
but
like,
the cards
develop.
aren't like from a manufacturing like in my hand perspective.
I mean,
that's
I've
not going to
been-
happen.
I've been on this train since the restricted list existed. Shameful Display should be on it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the problem with Shameful is that it shares a role with Pilgrimage, which is also broken. So, like, it's kind of just you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you
And
don't.
brothers, whatever dojo that I was talking about today, because that card should not be a void card.
Yeah.
Like what the.
I would love for
fuck
we
is that?
talked about that in our review of that card. Like, I would
Yeah.
love to be able to just test
It's-
with that card because it's cool.
It's
just
clearly
a cool card.
it's clearly a water province. It'd be a sick water province.
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
And it'll never
would
see
make-
any play at all now because it's a void
It will make it
province.
so that like I'd have to actually think about what I want my water province to be in a deck instead of just rally on my box. But
I literally put that question into our chat today, and the response I got was actually
it's void.
line for line the exact thought process I went through before I requested the question or posted the question to the group. And the response was, "Oh yeah, that's a great card. Oh wait, but it's a
Yeah.
void. Oh wait, that'd be a really good water card.
Yeah.
Oh wait, that's too favorable." Like I was literally like, I'm like, yes. So tell me why I'm not seeing this card, but we know why. Like,
Yep.
so I guess anecdotally, like, I do think, and I would be, I think for me, like, and I think for anybody playing this game that was like in the game at the beginning and would be willing to come back to still have their stuff, I think if you were like, we're cutting the provinces and we're just gonna do a brand new one, brand new set, I think that it would go hugely over well.
Oh yeah.
What they really need to do, and it's just too early, and it might be a big problem. I mean, I'm not gonna say they need to do this, but what they could do, and it would be hugely beneficial, is a just whole reboot of the core set.
Yep.
Because the core sets in FFG games, in LCGs, if you don't know, core sets are evergreen, which means they'll never rotate, which means this baseline of insanely powerful cards like Bonsai
Well,
and Court Games and For Shame are never gonna leave unless
I
they
agree.
redo the core.
I agree, and I disagree. So I think that you're totally right. Like those cards are just unequivocally like they're just good cards, but I don't think that's a bad thing if that makes sense. Like you still have to make a choice at some point. Like I recently look at my deck and I'm like, okay, as a Scorpion player, I want to run Bonsai. Do I want to run 2? Yeah, I'd like to run 2, but do I think I should run 3? Yeah, but I can't fit 3. Should I then go down to 1? No, because then it makes no sense. Like, you know, like there's a choice there that does become inherent as we move towards the card pool that we're going toward, that we're at even.
Yeah.
So maybe my deck is bad, but I can't fit one Bonsai.
Well, and Ian, you're a perfect example. I do think that your deck, like and what's funny is you play your Scorpion like I play mine, yet you don't run Bonsai, which I think is awesome. Like you run you run the same style deck but in a totally different way. And so this kind of goes back to what I said about probably 20 minutes ago. Like I do think there is a variety in the decks. I still think, as we said before, they're still really good red cards. So I guess going back to the core set idea though is I do think that we have core cards that are good, but I do believe that we're actually at a point where you have a choice with those core cards. The core cards that I think every deck is going to run is definitely core games. I did for a short time. I think one deck I ran for one day was a no core games deck.
Felt
And yes,
miserable.
I was crazy. It was miserable.
Yep.
Right? It was absolutely
Fucking
miserable. I'm
awful.
like, why is this?
I remember that day because I was sitting in a KFC eating lunch at work, and you messaged me the deck list, and I was like, "Are you fucking high?"
Yeah, well, because I was like, I want to make rum, right? Because you're like, because this is kind of you're kind of proving my point. Is that we are at a point where the core cards are good, and that is okay. You should be able to buy a core box as a new player of L5R and have good cards.
I would totally agree with everything you're saying. If
It's the clan specific stuff.
Right. If they didn't make a clear and conceited effort to, after the core set, tone down the power level of every card they've printed. If you look at the cards in the elemental cycle and compare them to the imperial cycle, and then compare those cards to core set, every single set it has gotten weaker as they've gone on. And your deck is, if you look at your deck right now, it's like 80% or more core cards.
I think that
you're probably right.
partially is. See, okay, so there's two aspects of this, right? Partially, I feel like, as weird as it is to say, I do kind of agree with Adam in the sense that, like, especially in regards to getting new players into an LCG, and especially a game like L5R, which is a difficult sell, core set being powerful enough is something that they should shoot for. You know, if they were to revamp it, I'd want them to be very careful to make sure that it was powerful but not ridiculous, because it's like you said, you should be able to buy core sets and core set, like, or a core set as a new player and be like, yeah, I've got some powerful cards here, that's good. But kind of like what I said, my problem with core set almost entirely hinges on the clan cards, because it was before they really had a ton of people play testing the game, or a ton of people playing the game. Yeah, and the provinces. So, you know, cards that come to mind just across the board, right? Shameful Display and Pilgrimage, clearly too good and clearly should be different roles, I think. Like, probably be toned down regardless. Even looking at other provinces, like, nothing else is screaming at me. Feast or Famine is Imperial, I believe. But then you go onto the clan cards, and like a card like Let Go completely restricts their design space from now till infinity. It is very. I feel like it's not restrictable. But yeah, and then Reprieve. You know, Reprieve is another card where my clan is pigeonholed into the hole of having Reprieve in clan, and it's a good pigeonhole to be in, but it is very limiting for design space, and it has 1 fucking influence cost. That card could cost 4 influence, and it would be a clan-defining card, and it would be good, but it wouldn't be like, oh, Dragon is degenerately splashing it for a year, like, and they fuck everybody. And then you've got...
I think Dragon would still splash, like, 2 Reprieves if it
They'd
cost
probably
4
run 2
influence.
Reprieves and a fucking Skirmisher, right? Or 2 Skirmishers, I forget.
Two Pathfinders.
Yeah, 2 Pathfinders, like something.
Is Pathfinder's also 1 influence?
Because they're both just... like, that's what I mean. There's a lot of these cards that, like, minor changes. You know, minor changes could be made to a lot of these cards. And I'm not going to speculate on what the change would be in this case, because it's not fucking anti-Scorpion Power Hour. But, you know, City the Open Hand is a clear thorn in the dev side forever now.
It's also just not really, like, beneficial to sit around and talk about, like,
exactly.
what cards should be.
But that's what I mean. Like, I don't care what it should be. I just mean that, like, it's clearly a problematic card from a design perspective, in the same way that a card like Let Go is, because it's very limiting or it's overpowered.
Well, something I want to say on that is, like, I am totally on the camp of that. The City of the Open Hand is a very good card, but there's something that we all have to just accept, and, like, it just has to be accepted. Like, and you can argue otherwise, but, like, I just don't think you can win the battle. And this is, that card exists, and everything that was created in Scorpion hinges on that.
Yep.
Sadly, we got City of the Open, or the,
I agree.
Whatever the pack, the fucking stupid deck that we got like 2 months ago, whatever the heck it was. Yeah, that deck not even that deck, that pack. Like, that pack tried to shift things, and not even in a way that was, like, actively shifting us, but just to, like, throw it in our face. Everything we got from day 1 till even through that pack has shifted the mentality of how Scorpion is played. And you can play other decks in Scorpion, as I've said, but you are not going to be playing the way that the design was envisioned from day 1. And that's okay.
The Kyuden Bayushi deck that you're, like, talking about is just better with City of the Open Hand.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All the same cards, but just replace the Stronghold.
Yeah, no, it's totally true, and it's sad to say. It is.
I definitely agree with you.
So
like,
I've got to pay 1 honor and bounce to the hand here, but I'm gonna be back in, like, half an hour. So
right.
I'll
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
No worries.
We'll
nice having you, bud.
in the game by then.
But I definitely agree
probably
with what
get
you
close
said
to
there.
that anyway.
Yeah. Like, it is in the game, and everything's been designed around it. I just feel like, you know, look at, like,
right.
It's like we talked about before. You can't restrict anything else except maybe duty, and that's the problem. Is, like, the stronghold is just the main power of the clan. Like, everything hinges on that stronghold so much.
I don't know if we can afford to spend any more time on our podcast discussing duty.
Yeah, for real. We probably put hours into it, huh?
And I'll just, well,
I'm not going to
I'll
discuss
just
duty.
say-
I'm just saying offhand that it would be, restricted.
I'll just say that like, our official stance is that card should be banned.
Yeah, for sure.
Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, it's really good.
It's good.
I mean, like I don't tend to use it as aggressively as it can be. Not necessarily because I don't like. I mean, so we had a local tournament yesterday, and I was just like testing out a new rolled Scorpion deck with some changes that I made. Because I'm suddenly playing in a Grand Cote in a few days now, and I play duty. I think in my 3 rounds, I think I played it twice because I was just like at 3, my opponent was at 3, and I was like, I just want to draw a bunch of cards. The card's really, really powerful.
It's insanely powerful.
It sure do be that
I'm not
way.
sure about it.
Hey, fuck it. It's a one-of
Yeah.
card, so they're probably never going to restrict it. So I'm not going to write fan fiction about what I want them to do. It is
They
what
will never
is.
touch it. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
But
Well, it's
should
because it should be touched, so they won't.
Yeah.
It's like shameful.
Yeah. So that was our like Scorpion Bitch Moan Power Hour.
It was.
Thanks for joining us.
Scorpion's really fun though. It's okay. They're really fun to play. Like a blast.
Yeah.
We're gonna roll into a game of the top 4 of the Discord League.
We sure are.
Woo.
In just
Stick
a moment.
around.
Thanks for sticking with us, though.
For those of you who are leaving, or for this is going to be the ending of the podcast recording, thanks for hanging out. Come join our Discord channel, New England L5R. Come hang out with us,
Come chat
and
with
we'll
us.
see you guys next week, Tuesday at 7:30.
Yeah, we might even have something for y'all at PAX, but we'll see.
Yeah, no promises.
Yeah, no promises. Thanks, everybody.